Okie dokie. Right. Start filling me in. Okay, where are we? What's going on? Set the stage. You learned a lot about last week. We're in Exodus, starting Exodus 6 by the way.
Moses and Pharaoh.
Yes, Moses and Pharaoh. Moses and burning bush.
Yes.
Moses and killing people.
And now Moses and science.
And Moses and science. Wonders. Alright, what was going on last week?
The signs of the Lord's power.
Okay, so God meets Moses. Alright, let's go further back. God saves Moses on the Nile. Right? How does he do that?
In a basket.
Right, in a basket. Puts him into a nice pretty basket, sends down, and Pharaoh's daughter is doing what?
She's bathing.
Bathing in the Nile. What does that mean?
Worshipping.
She's worshipping. Okay, she's out. It's not that they didn't have baths where they were, that now you have to publicly go and bathe. It's now, it's an act of worship. She is worshipping the Nile. Alright? And God uses this, that is supposed to be a God, to float across someone who's going to represent the real God. Okay, what does she call him?
Out of the water.
Who? Okay, let me put it this way. Who names Moses?
The Pharaoh's daughter is from the Nile.
Pharaoh's daughter, okay? Remember, Moshe is a translation from an Egyptian word, okay? So to draw out, it's funny enough that she actually gives him the function. Alright, she saves him and she pulls him up out of the water, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to draw people. He's going to draw people to God. He's going to draw people out of Egypt. He's going to, that's going to be his whole notion. He's going to draw the people through the crossing of the Red Sea, etc., etc. Alright? This is who he is. Alright? This is what's going to happen. Alright? He then gets weaned. He was too young. She was not nursing, obviously. Miriam, Moses' sister, comes up and she says, well, let me go find a witness for you. She says, fantastic. And Moses' mom, Jochebed, her faith is so great that he allows, well, God rewards this by bringing her son, who she had to let go, bringing her back right into her arms. And not only does she receive her son back until he's fully weaned, she gets paid for it as well. Okay? It's no longer, I have to let my son go. God goes, no, I know. I bring him back to you. This is now your job. You have to wean him. How long did it take in those times to wean a baby fully? Okay, it could be up to 7 years. Okay? So they would carry on doing this for up to 7 years, going through this whole motion. And obviously this is where he got his foundations from. This is where he learned who he was, where he belonged, who was his people. And as you go through this whole motion, he gets this foundation. This is who he belongs to. And then all of a sudden, years later, as a prince of Egypt, he runs around and he sees someone abusing one of his brothers, a taskmaster. And what does he do? Why? Is that a natural reaction to run around killing people?
He was angry because he was hurting his mother. Surely. But he didn't know at the time that it was his mom.
What? He was hurting who?
His mom. Wasn't she also...
No, wasn't that? No.
Oh, he was hurting some... He saw they were...
Hurting another person, like a Hebrew person, and he knew, because from what his mother had taught him while she was weaning him, that he comes from the Hebrew.
Okay, so he gets this foundation the whole entire time that he's going, you're going to save our people. You are going to look after these people. You are going to help us, Moses. God has saved you for a purpose, Moses. Moses, are you paying attention? This is what's going to happen. Through you, people are going to be saved, etc., etc. And he tries to do it by his own hands. He goes, right, you will not hurt my brother anymore. And then he looks around, is anybody there? Poof, dead, covered, sand. And no one noticed.
But why was he so extreme to even kill him?
I think it's because there's two different places of thought, right? One is that Moses is such a wonderful man. He hates injustice, and because there was injustice being done, he couldn't be held back. I think it's more along the lines that Moses, you were saved for a specific purpose. Can you imagine his mom and his father going, I can't believe, out of all the children that have been killed in the Nile, you've been saved. Why? What does God have planned for you? Why have you been saved? Why are you going to go through this whole process? Moses, obviously God has a plan. Obviously God has a big, plan for you with his people, and you're being lifted up into Pharaoh's household. So maybe you will be like Joseph. Maybe you'll be able to look after these people. Maybe, we don't know. But I can see this sort of foundation being laid by his parents, who are a God-fearing family. And they're going, you know what? You've been saved, my boy. You have a calling. And this anticipation of, how am I going to fulfill this calling? Should I act out in my own stead, or is God going to do this? How am I going to save my people? I'm not hearing from God, so maybe he thinks he needs to do it by himself. Moses acts out in his own power, and what happens is, he makes a balagan. Nice Hebrew word that means a big mess. Okay? Yes, I saved someone, I'm awesome, I'm Moses, and then all of a sudden he's running for his life. And we have this wonderful parallel where someone who was elevated up is now brought low. He's an heir apparent to lots of wealth, but he has nothing in his hands, and he's running through the wilderness, and he's sitting by a well all by himself. Who does that remind you of? Jacob. Okay, firstborn blessing, all the inheritance, all the responsibility, nothing. And what happens is, he meets his wife at a well. And he goes through this whole process of becoming, or God de-Egyptizing him. Okay, remember, we've got to play, for the first 40 years of Moses' life, he runs around as a prince. For the second 40 years of his life, he becomes a shepherd. And there's a third stint, which we will go into in this portion, where he goes out to go fulfill his calling. So there's actual 3 stages. 3 stages of 40 years of pop. And you guys all see that? Yes, no? Yes. I think I need to use the doctor. It's got 3 years. 3 stages. New pen. 3 stages of 40 years. What does the word 40 represent?
Trials.
Trials. Here for Moses, he gets 3 different sections of it. Okay? First, prince. Second, shepherd. Shepherd. No, that's not right.
Shepherd.
S-H-E-P. Why would you stop there? Okay. He goes in as a shepherd, and the third one I like to call on-the-job training. Okay, this is where he starts fulfilling his calling. Okay, so he's got 3 cycles of testing. 1, will you remember me in your years as a prince? Will you remember your people? Will you love the lowly? As a shepherd, you learn wilderness. You learn tough times. You learn this is all about God. How can you provide? You can't. How are you going to survive this big, massive wilderness? How are you going to survive the wadis? How are you going to survive the wild animals? God. There's so many different plays, and like I said last week, if you watch the tape, every great man of God goes through all this. John the Baptist, Yeshua, Elijah, Yochanan the Immerser. Every great man of God will go through wilderness moments. And you will learn to get a compassion. You will learn that by your strength, you cannot reach, you cannot get there. And you will learn that it's only by God's grace that you are where you are. So don't think for a second that in your life, when you go through a wilderness moment, you think God has forgotten you. You think, I'm all alone. You think, well, this is really tough. I don't know how I'm going to survive. That's the point. You realize for the first time in your life that you can't do it. And you start looking at other people going through tough times and you realize, hang on a second, they're just like me. Where before you were floating first class all the way, thinking, oh, they're just lazy. Oh, well, they don't have it put together. They obviously did something wrong. God brings you down and He teaches you who He is. El Shaddai. I am your every need. Okay? I'm reiterating this because it is extremely important. When you go sit, when we go to Israel and I take you into the wilderness and you start to realize how big a place this really is and how scary it is. This is not the Kalahari where it's flat and runs for miles. The Judean wilderness is rough. It is mountainous. You don't know what's around the corner. You start walking through a section, you don't know what's 2 k's down the road. Remember biblical times, you could have lions, you could have bears, you could have another army around the corner you don't know about. Flash floods. More people die today in Israel by getting washed away in a flash flood than anything else. Okay? When it happens, it washes away roads. It washes away cars. Last time we were in Israel, it happened just before we got there. A good friend of mine who organizes all our tours over there came to us, he met us at the hotel and he says, Vince, you won't believe. Just yesterday, they cleared the last bit of road down in Eilat, and our second night we were in Eilat, third night. And they literally, the week before, they had to airlift people out. And when we got down to Eilat, I took the guy snorkeling because it's obviously on the Red Sea and it's really stunning, so we do it local style. I take them to where the locals do it. And we park on the side of the road, and right next to us, next to the, I think it's the Taba border, just the border crossing into Egypt. We look on our right-hand side, and there's cars where you can see that much of the roof. The rest of it is all underwater. Okay, I'm talking about that happened. The flood already happened and they were clearing the roads already 3 days ago. And you still had about 6 or 7 different cars just parked in the parking lot, completely covered in water. Lord, how am I going to survive? How are we going to keep the flock here? How are you going to get food for these guys? And Moses is being taught the wilderness in which he's going to lead the Israelites to is the wilderness he knows like the back of his hand. 40 years walking section for section, and he knows how tough it is, he knows how rugged it is, and he's going, Lord, there's barely enough for me and a flock. How am I going to look after 2.5 million people? How am I going to get enough water for them? How are we going to get enough bread? How are we going to get them through this massive tract of land? And God's saying, just search about that, let me show you. What Moses had to learn here was that you're not going to do this by yourself. What I'm going to do through you is what's important. And this is where we have to learn to kind of yield ourselves, because what happens is God gives you a calling and He starts to put people in your lives and all the rest of it, and then you say, yes, we're going to do it this way. And God goes, no. No, but I need to reach His people. I'm ready. I'm there. And we jump the gun. I myself had this false start problem. I'm ready. I understand. I'll do it. And then God told me, go talk to this person. I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to this person. This was a friend of mine. Everything inside me just kicked up this massive fuss, and I was like, oh, but you know, I don't want to insult him. Is this really the right time? He's had a brain. Should I really talk to him right now? I don't want to cast pearls before swine. And I made up every excuse in the book. And God never let it go. And the next day I had to sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I got in contact with him. And I told him what God had to say. Being a real timid fellow at that stage, sent him a really long SMS. And I gave him the scriptures of what I thought he was saying was wrong, and this is why I thought it was right, and all the rest of it. And then you sit down and you think, you know what, maybe I'm not ready. Just sit down and talk to people I don't know. I couldn't even talk to people I did know. And confront them about maybe misconceptions of what God was talking about. I know it seems strange seeing me standing up here now. But at that point, I wasn't ready. I thought I was. God was like, no. We have to go through a few more things until you get enough confidence in me that I will be with you while you do this. And we slowly build up this relationship, and I slowly be able to come into this point where I was comfortable enough in what I knew, because I knew. Because he took me through wilderness moments, and he showed me who he was, and he showed me what was truth, and he sustained me in those difficult times. So that when I stand up and talk to you now, I talk to you out of testimony of what God has done in my life. And I carry that with me because I know, because I've been through it, because I know. This is not an intellectual idea of what I think is correct. This is what God has done in my life. And we saw last week, Moses makes a whole bunch of excuses, just like I did. And when you walk up to the thing and you're like, no, I don't talk good, I'm not eloquent enough. Some interpretations say to say to someone else, he has this massive stutter. But who else was more qualified to be sent to Pharaoh, who understood courts, who understood gods, who understood people, who understood the situation? No one other than Moses, because he was part of the court. Where you come from is what God is going to use, good or bad. And he's going to go, remember that time when you were sitting there doing that thing? It's time. I'm going to change you. And I'm going to give you a heart full of compassion, a heart for my people, a heart for those lowly of the flock. And once you understand these two things, my boy, then we're going to go answer the call. And the whole time was, I will be with you. I will speak for you. I will slowly establish this for you. This is what I'm going to do. All you have to do is pitch up and open up your mouth. When you say it like that, it sounds silly, but it takes a lot of guts to stand up and open up your mouth. I think it was Joyce Meyer. She had a testimony the one day. She said, this is a woman, she talks to tens of thousands of people every week. And she said it was very strange for her. The first time she got like a first public call, she was also part of like a sort of home ministry, just church thing, Bible self-fellowship, and then all of a sudden she got a call, and she was invited to go talk alongside doctors of theology. And it was this pastor and this doctor and this, that, and all the rest of it. And she said when she got called up to go talk, she stood up in front of the lectern and then she went, and nothing came out. And she said she had a choice to make. She could either go and sit back down, or she could try and open up her mouth and start again. And we all have this process of what we're going to have to go through. I'm going to say this once. Discipleship is not for sissies. Count the cost. God has invited you on a walk. You're not sitting in a stand watching Him and going, hey, there He goes, that's my God, awesome. He's giving you the baton and He's running next to you and He says, all right, we got this, we just need to get to the other side. Your choice whether you're going to run or not. Paul says it this way, run the race as if you want to win. Most of us are still standing at the starting blocks going, maybe now. No, it's too busy at work. Maybe next week. Maybe I'm not the best qualified. I have a list. Oh, I'm not really the most knowledgeable. Please don't talk to me. Every time we have excuses, like Moses. And he's standing there holding out the baton and he's saying, I need you to go and run so that other people can see me. Because while you pass them and you declare my glory, and you know that it's not me, well, personally, but God who's doing it, then people start to see the true reflection. Okay? So this builds up obviously to Moses going through this whole process. And he goes and God gives him 3 signs. What were the signs?
Do wonders. Snake.
Snake. A hand that turns to Tzara. Okay, remember, leprosy, slightly different,
Change the spiritual.
yeah, it's a slightly different, what's the word, symptoms. Okay, Henningson's disease, and what we know as leprosy, doesn't break out in the way what Scripture describes this sort of leprosy. This talks about the skin being white as snow, very flaky. Alright? Okay, the leprosy we understand is something very different. This is what in the Hebrew called tza'arat. Okay? Every time God brings that sort of thing, He's telling you to check something on the inside of you, something spiritually wrong, or you're doing something against me, against God, and therefore you have an outward flare-up to check your heart condition. Okay?
Is it still back in place today for us if we get sick and that?
In some circumstances, yes, and in others, no. So in some cases, scriptures will say, you know what, if any one of you is sick, you need to come before the elders, let them anoint you, and then they have to ask you a question. Is there any sin that you need to make repentance of? That you know, are you making, or you're running away from God? Do you make teshuvah? And then if you go, no, there's nothing, then it's probably a medical condition. There's something wrong. You've got a headache because you've got a headache. Your body is flawed. But at other times, He uses physical things to bring us down because we're running or we're not doing what we're supposed to do. So we've got to test on both sides. Okay? So He tells them, snake in Egypt. What does the snake represent? A Satan. A Satan is the serpent, yes. He's a deceiver. Right. Okay, he deceives. You're in Egypt. Snake. Don't be deceived, you do not belong here. In the last portion, and he carries on in this portion, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I have remembered my covenant. You are my people. And they're going, but it's kind of nice here. Sun's warm, get food, got a job. Some of the guys are being lifted up really nice. You should see. You should see. Oh, what's a nice Jewish name? Shlomo. You should see Shlomo's house. You know, he was so good that he's got his own. You know, he's been lifted up as a foreman. He's got a really good pension package. Maybe Egypt is the place for me. Don't be deceived. Okay? He shows them what else? The tza'arat. What does that represent? Spiritual sin. Don't spit in my face. I'm bringing you out. Remember where you're coming from. Remember who I am, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they go through this place, and they go through this motion. And the third sign He actually gives him is part of the first plagues. Okay? When He talks about the Nile and the blood, which we're going to get into. Alright? Anything else I've missed? You guys are fantastic. All the answers shouting back at me. Alright. Exodus chapter 6, verse 2. Okay, the portion of the parasha is called And I Appeared. And God said to Moses, and God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am Yahweh. Okay? Yud Hey Vav Hey. Alright, and remember that has the connotation. He is salvation. Okay? The hand revealed, the nail revealed. Okay? As well as He will cause to be. He will establish. As well as it being first person and third person, and it has no time. It can be past, present, and future tense. Okay? Very confusing, but very deep. So God is timeless. He is in a plurality. He is salvation, and He will cause to be. All of that in one name. And I appeared to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob as El Shaddai. El Shaddai means what? Sorry? No.
But it's the one expressed, it's God, it's a function.
What is a shad?
Breast.
Yes, it's a lady's breast. El Shaddai, okay, in many direct translation would be the many-breasted one. I'm not going with the direct translation, he's trying to tell you who he is. Say, exactly. All you need when you're a newborn baby is the breast. The milk is perfect. It is like manna from heaven. It has enough antibodies, it has enough proteins, it has enough carbs, it has enough calciums, it has all what baby needs. He is your every need. And he says, I revealed my function to them. This is who I was, even though his name was stated long before. But this is who I am to you. You stay in the wilderness, you will be okay. You stay here, I will take care of you. I will protect you. Don't worry, I got this. And I was not known to them by my name. Which is a funny statement because Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh has appeared all the way back in Genesis. So what is he saying here?
They forgot me. Well, they don't know me anymore.
Not that I don't know you anymore. He says, I make myself known to you.
So it's not known as salvation.
Okay? Because he now has to save them from Mitzrayim. What does Mitzrayim mean?
Bondage.
Bondage. Egypt literally means bondage. God will save you from bondage. He will draw you out of Mitzrayim. He's already telling you what Yeshua is going to do. Okay? He says, they do not know me like this. I have not walked with them in this way. I have not had to rescue them in totality as the children of Israel and pull them out. And I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their residences in which they resided. And also I have heard the cry of the children of Israel as Egypt is enslaving them. And I've remembered my covenant. Remember, it says in the portion before, they cried out. It never said they cried out to Adonai. Injustice. God hears. He investigates. Remember, he says, if I remember my covenant, it's not because he forgot. It's because now is the time to act. He will act on your behalf. Therefore say to the children of Israel, I am Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, and I shall bring you out from under Egypt's burdens, and I shall rescue you from their toil, and I shall redeem you with an outstretched arm, and with tremendous judgments. And I shall take you to me as a people, and I shall become your God. And you will know that I am Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God, who is bringing you out of Egypt's burdens. And that was a really nice... Where does that sound familiar? Where have you heard this before?
The promise to Abraham and Isaac.
Yes, the last part.
What about Sodom and Gomorrah?
The cry and cried out, but I'm specifically speaking about these promises. Pesach. 4 cups of wine. I will bring you out from Egypt. I will rescue you. I will redeem you. I will take you to be mine. You drink 4 cups at Passover because of these verses. And it culminates so that you will know that I am Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God, who is bringing you out from the land of Egypt's burdens. And I shall bring you to the land that I raised you to give to Abraham. Okay? He redeems you with an outstretched arm, and he shall take you to be his people. It is just as Abraham had established.
I just want to ask something. Why does he say redeem and not save?
Because to redeem means to buy with a price. Okay?
He hasn't given a price there.
There will be a price.
There will be a price, but do they understand that he will pay a price?
Well, I think when you're talking about what he's doing, there's always this prophetic element of like pulling him out of bondage. He will redeem you like Yeshua redeemed us with the cost of the firstborn. Like 10. There is a cost to your salvation. Don't think that no one didn't pay a price to get you free. So that's why you don't spurn your salvation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay? Said Abraham and Isaac, and I shall give to you as a possession. I am Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. And Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and they did not listen to Moses because of shortage of spirit and because of hard work. What does your translation say?
Broken spirit.
Broken spirit. It talks about 2 distinct things for me. Okay? God comes into your life and you will believe him or not, depending on your relationship with him. How is your spiritual life? No, they can't possibly be for me. How can you believe God's promises if you don't have a relationship with Him? How can you be looking for salvation if you don't believe it's coming? And if you believe, yes, He can do this, He will distract you with hard work. How many of you have been struggling? I have at least 2 testimonies of people that attend this fellowship, that every time they want to come, every time they try and get you, every time there's something happens. They have to be here, they have to do this, or they have to be over here, or they have to be over there. Or no, they can't because they really have to study. And I'm sitting here going, yes. You have to make a decision on how important God is into your life. You have to decide. Okay? I spoke to the men about this. You will show the world what is most important to you by what you make time for. If your loved ones, the closest to you, the people closest to you, would write down a list by what you do, not what you say. Where do you spend your most time and prioritize according to your action? Where would God fall? Work, relaxing time, playing with kids, eating, sleep, TV games. Would God even muster up in the first 3? By what you do. What are you showing the world? And I'm not saying family time is not important. I'm not saying playing with your kids is not important. I'm not saying quit your job because you don't have enough family time. I'm saying, what is your priority? The first person you want to say hello to in the morning before you go to work. The first person you need to spend quality time with so you can go to work. The first person you cling to when work gets tough. Or how does God equip you so that you can be, in that quality time, be a better husband, a better father, a better friend? Test me. Let people write down according to what you do, what is most important. You establish your priorities and you tell the world who is most important. Or, there's something wrong with your relationship, or you get distracted by work. Okay? Satan uses the same things over and over again. Verse 10. And Yudhe spoke to Moses, saying, come, speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he should let the children of Israel go from this land. And Moses spoke in front of Hashem, saying, here the children of Israel didn't listen to me, and now will Pharaoh listen to me, and I am uncircumcised of lips. What does your translation say?
Faltering lips.
Sorry?
Faltering lips.
Yes, faltering lips. Okay, apparently a literal translation is uncircumcised of lips. Okay? It's a very strange idea. Okay, it's saying, okay, maybe he's unskilled in speech. Maybe the fact is he's going out here and he's not 100% sure if he believes. Remember, the New Testament references says, oh, you who are circumcised, you actually have to circumcise your heart. Does that literally mean we're going to start having interesting ceremonies where I get to cut you open and cut away a piece of skin around your heart?
Does it mean that he has to do it, but he doesn't want in his heart to do it?
Or the covenant has not affected him completely. Remember, circumcision was a symbol of a promise. I will be your God, you will be my people. Through you and your seed I will take you and I'll put you into this land. I will be with you forever. You will be, comes later, the establishment of this, you will be a kingdom of priests, a peculiar treasure. You will belong to me and you will show the world who I am.
Is this due to the fact as well that he didn't, it shows up in his halakha at that time because he had not circumcised his son.
Does he really believe? Does he really want the covenant? How am I going to go and convince Pharaoh if I'm exactly not sure how you're going to do this? The last time we tried this, I killed somebody and now I ran for my life. Is this real?
So Moses is actually on the fence with his faith at this point.
Got to love. I want you to mark this down, put a little star, because By the time God is finished with the wonders, you see a completely different Moshe. Okay? And Hashem spoke to Moses and to Aaron and commanded them regarding the children of Israel and regarding Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt. These are the heads of their fathers' houses. This is a very interesting little portion in the middle. They go through this little liturgy, talking about Reuben and his firstborn. And they talk about Simeon and his firstborn. And then they talk about Levi and his 3 sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari, and how long they lived. And then he goes into Gershon and Kohath, and all the way to get to the point to verse 20 where he goes, and then Amram took Jochebed, his aunt, as a wife. Is that Torah observant or not? No. So Egypt is maybe a little bit, 1 foot in Egypt, 1 foot in Torah. Okay? Takes her as a wife, and she gave birth to Aaron and to Moses for him. And the years of Amram's life were 137 years. And then he carries on a little bit about it. And Aaron took Elisheba, daughter of Anidab, sister of Nachshon, as a wife, and she gave birth to Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Itamar. Okay, there's a couple of names I want you to start to remember here. Nadab and Abihu, they're going to come up. Eleazar and Itamar, they're going to come up again. The sons of Korah, Korah is going to come up again. Asir and Elkanah, Abisar, these are the family of the Korahs. Eleazar, son of Aaron, had taken one of the daughters, Putiel, as a wife, and she gave to him, she gave birth to him, Pinchas or Phinehas. He's going to come up again. Okay? These are already telling you, these prominent figures, these names, some good, some not so good. These names are going to come up again in the story a little bit down the line. These are the heads of the fathers of the Levites according to their families. A little portion about you go and you go do this, and oh, by the way, let me tell you where Aaron and Moses actually come from. They're from the tribe of Levi, Kohath, the Kohens, and they had some sons and some daughters, and these guys you'll hear about a little bit later. That is Aaron and Moses, to whom Hashem said, bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt by their masses. They were the ones speaking to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, to bring out the children of Israel from Egypt. This is to them Moses and Aaron. And it was in that day that Hashem spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt. And Hashem spoke to Moses saying, I am Yudevave, speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, everything that I speak to you. What is he charging him with here? What is Moses becoming?
Leader.
A mouthpiece of God.
A mouthpiece of God. What is it?
He's a representative.
No. Close but not. Prophet. He becomes a prophet. A prophet is a glorified mouthpiece. He becomes a megaphone. God speaks into one area. Hello, tell them turn left. And then Moses goes, hello, tell them turn left. And that's Moses' call. This man is lifted up into ridiculous heights in Judaism. And people, even in Gentile circles, will tell you it's the law of Moses. It's not the law of Moses. It's God spoken to Moses, through Moses, to us. It is God's law. Moses was just a megaphone he used. Okay? He literally just had this motion, go and tell them. And in some cases he would go, Moses, tell them to do this. And he would go to Aaron. Aaron, tell them to do this. And Aaron would go, oi, do that. Okay? A prophet is someone who utters the very words of God. Sorry. You know what I'm teaching. Okay? He utters the very words of God. And that's his calling. He just goes through this process of, this is what God has said. The highest, one of the highest callings these people have is just to repeat God's very words. And in some instances, when you go out, and you go talk to people who've never heard of the word, who have very little knowledge of scripture, and they ask you a question, and they go, what do you think about this? And then you go, well, you know what, Yeshua said this. You realize you become that prophet. These are the very words of God.
Prophecy means the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Yeshua.
What God has declared to come future, past, or present.
Yes.
I'm declaring his very words.
So if we read the Bible, prophesying this is God's
In
word.
one way, shape or form, I'm prophesying right now. Because I'm reading the very words of God. And we think we just pick up our Bibles and it's like, no, God said do this, no. This is a gift. This thing that you have in your hand is the very words of the King of the universe. This is why we said the blessing before we start. I need to remind you whose words they are. These are. And in Jewish circles, when we open up a Torah, they don't even want to touch the pages. That's how sacred they are. They take, you see this, it's a massive silver sort of doohickey with a little hand at the end with a finger pointing normally. And they actually use that to follow in the lines. Because that is that sacred to them. You've heard me say, in some cases I will utter the very name of God, and in other places I will say Hashem. Out of respect that I do not use his name incorrectly, I will rather substitute the name, literally Hashem, instead of invoking the power and God who's behind the name. It is not a name that I throw out. I will remind you, one of the commandments, you will not take the Lord's name lightly, what we translate as in vain. When you invoke the name, you invoke the power. So when you say, call out his name, he answers. And he's standing there going, who rang? God, who holds the entire universe in his hand, answers to his name.
I love actually how with all the translations, where God's name, yes it was and wrong, taken out the Bible, but in the same way, the change of names actually also protected his name. So when people use his name in vain, they're not really using his name.
Yeah, it's a good and a bad thing.
It's a good and a bad thing, because they don't know his name.
And we don't know his function.
But it's sad because their hearts are still trying to blaspheme God.
In many instances. In many instances, people just carry on. And yeah, they don't realize that. Okay. Okay, Phineas, where am I?
Verse 39.
Sure. Said, and Hashem spoke to Moses, saying, I am Yahweh. Yahweh, speak to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, everything that I speak to you. And Moses said in front of Hashem, here I am on circumcised lips. How will Pharaoh listen to me? So now he's so nervous that he can't even speak to Pharaoh, someone who more than likely is his stepbrother. Okay, remember, the Pharaoh who was in charge has now passed. The next Pharaoh, he is in line, probably the one that Moses grew up with. Chapter 7. And Hashem said to Moses, see, I've made you a god to Pharaoh. I have exalted you up, even to him. And that's a major statement in Pharaoh's mindset. Can you imagine? Pharaoh himself thinks he's God. I have put you above him. Okay? And Aaron, your brother, will be your prophet. And you shall speak everything that I command you. And Aaron, your brother, shall speak to Pharaoh. And he let the children of Israel go from his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and I will multiply your signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh won't listen to you. And I'll set my hand in Egypt and bring out my masses, my people, the children of Israel, from the land of Egypt with great judgments. And Egypt will know I am Hashem when I reach out my hand on Egypt. And I will bring out the children of Israel from among them. Go and speak to them. He's going to be really cranky. He's not going to listen to you. He's going to throw his toys out of the cart. But then I will multiply everything that I do. And Egypt, Pharaoh, the world, will know. Egypt is the superpower of the time. If I can reach them, if something happens in Egypt, don't think for a second that all other nations are not going to hear about it. I am teaching the world. God's agenda is about teaching. This whole purpose, this whole play, is to teach them. And Moses and Aaron did what Hashem had commanded them. They did so. And Moses was 80 years old. Okay? You see, he's going into that second cycle, no longer shepherd. Let's go crazy. And Aaron was 83 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh. Keep that in the back of your mind when they go walk about and they run and they climb up mountains and things like that. Okay? It's miraculous that they could even do this stuff. And Hashem said to Moses, and he said to Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh will speak to you, saying, produce a wonder, then say to Aaron, take your staff and throw it in front of Pharaoh, let it become a serpent. Now the word here is very interesting. It is not the word for snake, which is nachash. The word they use is tanin. In many instances, and many people believe this is actually the word for crocodile. So, in the instance of when he comes in, when he gives Moses a sign, he throws it down, it becomes a nachash, snake. And he picks it up. Don't be deceived. But when he goes to Pharaoh, he goes, I'll throw the snake down. Can you imagine the excitement? A crocodile appears. And his crocodile eats all the other crocodiles. And why is a crocodile so important?
Because that's the Nile's god, isn't it?
No, the Nile was a god in its own right.
The God is in it now.
It was the lifeblood of Isis, or Osiris, one of the two. The crocodile was the great protector of Pharaoh himself. So when God throws down, not mincing words, let my people go, or I will remove your protection. Stand up and be counted. Who can protect you from my hand? Okay? He came to Pharaoh and did so. And Hashem had commanded, and Aaron threw down his staff in front of Pharaoh and in front of his servants, and it became a serpent. And Pharaoh too called the wise men and the sorcerers, and they too, Egypt's magicians, did so with their charms. And they threw his staff, and they became serpents. And Aaron's staff swallowed their staffs. Disturbing point. If God is empowering these miraculous signs through Aaron and Moses, who is empowering Egypt's miraculous signs? There are demonic forces running around. They can do miraculous things in the eyes, but what God is showing you, one, Egypt is not a happy, clappy place. These people are worshipping demonic forces and they're allowing them to do miraculous things. New Testament warnings. What does Yeshua say about the one that he's going to become, or the one that will come? He will come with miraculous signs and wonders. Do not believe him.
I just want to say that Satan cannot create life, so obviously he was fooling everyone that it was.
It's manipulation.
It was manipulating to make it look like
He wasn't creating, he was just changing something to give that illusion. And God was saying, I am stronger. Each time Hasatan will come into your life and he will give you fear, and God will give you courage and overcome. Okay? Every time God is stronger, he will overcome whatever situation you're in because he is stronger. He's already won. Hasatan was there lifting up his hands going, yes, finally, the silly rabbi who was supposed to be the son of God is now gone. 3 days later, he realized that was his greatest defeat. Yeshua stood up and he goes, this death thing that you said could hold me, where is it now? He is greater. Okay? And Pharaoh's heart was strong. Notice, Pharaoh's heart was hardened, was strong. He was arrogant. Well, we can replicate your signs. Our gods are as strong as yours. Let the competition begin. And he did not listen as Hashem had spoken. And Hashem said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is heavy. He has refused to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning here. He'll be out to the water. And you'll stand opposite him by the bank of the Nile. What is Pharaoh doing at the bank of the Nile?
Worshipping.
Worshipping. Arrogant man. First sign gone. Carries on as normal. And you shall take out your hand with a staff that is changed into a snake, and you shall say to them, Hashem, the God of the Hebrews. Remember, Hebrew means what? Someone who crossed over. Abraham was the first Hebrew because he crossed over from the world into God's household. Okay? We become part of this covenant of the Hebrews. You're not Jewish. Hebrew. Israel. You belong to the household of God. You've crossed over. He sent me to you saying, let my people go that they may serve me in the wilderness. And that's quite an interesting statement. Let my people go so they may go to the Bahamas and we will have a good time. No? Why does God want to take them to the harshest place around?
Also to learn them.
Because our God is a God of the wilderness. Awesome, powerful wilderness. This is where you learn. This is where you start to still the world out. This is where you learn. Let me put it this way. Elijah went out into the wilderness to hear the still small voice of God. The world is shouting all around you. Distraction, distraction. Pick me, it's all about you like that. And it's only when you get quiet and you shut off everything else is when you start to hear God go, I'm here. He's never... So I love about God is he never comes into your life and he goes,